Happy December 25th, everyone. The new year is not over. This is Ashford and Diane of the Right On Network. Countdown to 2021. It's almost here, but not quite. Happy Christmas, everyone. And we have a question by M.W. Danvers. Hello, M.W. Danvers. I see him on Twitter all the time. All right, so we have like a multi-part question. Check this out. 1. If Helena wasn't part of the JSA or Infinity Inc., what team do you think she would be on?
Oh, she would definitely be on the Justice League.
Justice League. Hey, what about a new Outsiders group?
She could probably do an Outsiders group, but I see Helena Wayne more wanting to be with the Justice League. If she's not with the Justice Society or Infinity Inc., the next best thing for her would be the Justice League, because that would be the closest thing to being on the JSA for her.
I would say Justice League, and by the third story arc, she is the chairperson of the Justice League.
That would definitely be fun.
Now here's question 2 by M.W. Danvers. With Helena's biggest relationship being with Kara, would you have her come out as queer?
I think that would definitely happen in this decade, because there's more. When Helena Wayne was originally being published with Power Girl in the pre-crisis continuity, they didn't explore queer relationships, but I would say from the 2000s and forward, they've been exploring that idea more openly. So yeah, I do think that would definitely happen, especially if they go with the angle of Huntress and Power Girl being Earth 2 survivors of Crisis on Infinite Earths. That would definitely be something that would bring those two together. And I think that would also change the relationship as well.
You know what? Okay, so a couple of weeks back, you mentioned how, hey, I wouldn't want to see the whole thing of Helena Wayne being a Robin, and then all of a sudden she's Huntress, because there's already other Robins. The reason why she's unique, she didn't decide to be Batwoman. She wasn't Robin. She forged her own path. I think another thing too, I think there needs to be a 12 issue maxi series about Helena Wayne's origin. And what it would be is she's growing up as a rich person in the Northeast. And remember, you mentioned a couple of weeks back that her parents, they were already kind of removed from that life. So I think, because now I'm thinking about Power Girl and Huntress when they were in their civvies and they were eating on a rooftop. It was like a restaurant, but it's on a rooftop. And Helena Wayne was dressed like Carmen Sandiego. Kind of like, I think she needs to be hip, eccentric, rich lady. Like, I think, just so it's like, is Helena Wayne, is she just some lady? She's just this lady lawyer? Like, yeah. But I think also, have her have some eccentric, be eccentric a little bit, just a little bit. And then when she's Huntress, she's kick butt. But I would like to see that, where when she's dressed in her civvies, I mean, she's fashion. She's fashion out of control. Maybe she's professional dressed when she is a lawyer and at the firm. But when she's out and about, just in her personal life, I need her to be an eccentric dresser. I don't know. All right, so here's another one. 3. If she got a new comic, what creators would you have?
I've got a long list for this one, but I would absolutely love to see Marjorie Liu and Sana Takeda do their own take on Helena Wayne as the Huntress. I think the thing I like about Marjorie Liu is that she's great at exploring, very sensitive topics, and she's very good at executing stories that explore those things in a way that's respectful to the subject matter. When you consider that Helena Wayne is a lawyer, and she's especially a public interest lawyer, she's going to be dealing with cases that involve disenfranchised people being exploited and being abused, and Marjorie Liu is great at exploring those types of themes in a way that's very respectful. And of course, I'm a huge fan of Sana Takeda's work. I really love their work on Monstress, which is their creator-owned comic with Image. that's a great book to read if you haven't read it already. But yeah, if there is team that a creative team that is at the top of my list for a Helena Wayne Huntress story, Marjorie Liu and Sana Takada really top that list, because I think that they would do a great job at exploring Helena Wayne as a lawyer more, but also integrate, her experiences as a lawyer into her outings as a huntress. I would love to see that.
Okay, so you just mentioned Image. Are you reading Black Magic by Greg Rucka and Nicola Scott?
I've read the first issue, but I have not read any of the issues that came afterwards.
Yeah, we're going to have to talk about this later, but I definitely, when this question was first broached, the first thing I thought was Nicola Scott, who, when I recommended some Helena Bertinelli stories a couple of days ago, I talked about issues 100 through maybe 110, and the artist on there working with Helena Bertinelli is Nicola Scott. But yeah, in this Black Magic book, it's a lot of like emotions being worn on people's faces. They're going through all the emotions, and I think she could pull that off and pull off subtle nuances in and there's like queer relationships going on in this as well. I think it would work. So yeah, I just want to see. Come on, give us some Helena Wayne story. Just give us a Helena Wayne book. To me, I just think it's sure shot. It's not just because I want to see it. I think it can translate into dollars and cents. And now here's another.
Agree.
Oh yeah. Now here's question 4. Is there anything from the Paul Levitz or Joey Cavalieri runs that you wish the creators could have went into more detail?
Well, from the Paul Levitz run, I absolutely felt that more attention should have been spent on fleshing out Helena Wayne's relationship with Harry Sims, because it kind of just happened out of nowhere. We met Harry Sims in one story, and then by the time we saw the character again, it was established that Helena Wayne was in a romantic relationship with him, but we never saw the in-between. We didn't see how these two people actually met prior to that one story where he's first introduced. We don't see, these two characters really spend time together to truly flesh out, what made these two people fall in love with each other. Why was Harry Sims attracted to Helena Wayne, apart from what we're told? Once he learns that she's the huntress, that is. And more importantly, we don't know why Helena Wayne is attracted to him, especially when, after it's revealed that she's the huntress, Harry is not really into the idea of having a vigilante girlfriend, especially since she's also a lawyer. So yeah, I kind of felt that there should have been... I kind of felt that if you're going to establish Harry Sims as a romantic partner for Helena, you kind of need to develop, that relationship in a way that actually feels believable and not forced. Because as it originally transpired in the original Paul Levitz run, I didn't feel like these two characters had any real chemistry together. And I was especially not seeing why Helena Wayne would be attracted to Harry in the first place. And this is something that, interestingly enough, Joey Cavalieri addressed in his run. He more or less established that, these two people don't really go together. So I guess, going into the Joey Cavalieri story, had Crisis on Infinite Earths not happened, I think that Joey Cavalieri was looking to give, Helena Wayne a new love interest. Personally, I was not a fan of Gary Minnelli because I felt he was a bit creepy. He was written as a stalker in that run. But, I was at least interested in Tom Kelly, which was the intern at the hospital that Helena Wayne, brought, babies that were the children of parents who were drug addicts, right? So there was some chemistry there between Helena and Tom Kelly. So if Joey Cavalieri had not been screwed over by Crisis on Infinite Earths, I would have definitely loved to see where he would have gone with that relationship, especially since Tom Kelly is not a superhero. He's, just an ordinary guy, an ordinary civilian, and Helena Wayne seems to be more interested in having a civilian boyfriend than another superhero boyfriend. So I would have loved to have seen what he would have done with that concept had he been given the chance.
And check this out. This final question, and N.W. Danvers, thank you for these questions. Would Helena work in more magical, cosmic stories, or does she just work at street level stuff?
I think she can literally work in either of those, to be honest, because while Helena Wayne is Helena Wayne, works better, especially for her solo story. She works better as a street level character. When she's paired off with Power Girl in particular, you can definitely go into the cosmic stories and magical. I would love to see, Huntress and Power Girl on an alien planet, for example, and solving a crisis there. I would definitely not say no to seeing, Huntress and Power Girl in Gemworld and interacting with what's her face? Princess Amethyst, I think that's her name.
Amethyst, yes. I was thinking the same thing. Especially the 80s run where it reads like a She-Ra He-Man type book.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and especially with, Helena Wayne, because her mother is Catwoman. When Catwoman is messing with villains, you don't know what type of world she's dealing with. So I think that could be the entry where it's like, wait a minute, Helena Wayne is now doing kind of magical stuff. And I'm glad you brought up Amethyst. But it could be something where, I hate to say something like, oh, because of your mother, now you're in this trouble. But because Catwoman is part of the villain world, sometimes she's going to dabble in some stuff. Same thing with the heroes. Batman, he's dealing with mystical characters. So yeah, I definitely see Helena Wayne being able to do that, especially if you have on Earth 2. Mm-hmm. To me, I think if you do Helena Bertinelli, maybe a pairing where it's a magical, mystical kind of pairing, and Helena Wayne just happens to be a part of the story. Helena Bertinelli is part of the story as well. But yeah, I definitely want to see the mystical stuff. I immediately went mystical. Now, sci-fi going out into space, that person really just won't tell when they're there. Because you really got to think about that. But the mystical, magical, I like that.
Yeah, I do think that, considering that Power Girl's an alien, right? What if she ended up on a planet like Daxam, for example, which was actually colonized by the Kryptonians? You could totally do a story where Power Girl is summoned there, and of course, Helena thinks, okay, something's not right here. Let me find out what's really going on. She would definitely follow Power Girl or go with Power Girl to Daxam and find out what's going on there. Now I want to read that story now that I thought of it.
I was just about to say, you just gave him something to run with now. Wow. Yeah. You just gave him something. Story.
Yeah, do a story where Power Girl ends up on Daxam, which is a colony of Krypton. What conflicts exist there, especially considering that you could definitely do a colonialism type story with Daxam, because considering that, there are native Daxamites there and the Kryptonians just kind of stole the planet from them. How would Power Girl feel about that? And how would Helena especially feel about that? Especially if Power Girl's being summoned by, the Daxamites who are descended from Kryptonians, you see. And she would immediately be suspicious of that. Helena Wayne would.
The adjudicator.
Yeah, yeah, I would totally read that story. So yeah, I can definitely. So yeah, to answer the actual question, when Huntress is working on her own, yeah, she works great as a street level fighter. But when she's paired off with Power Girl, you can literally go to the more cosmic and magical stuff. You can do a sci-fi story where Huntress and Power Girl end up on an alien planet like Daxam, and they look into a case there. Or you can, have more fun with it. Have them visit Gemworld. I would totally read that story as well.
Merry Christmas, everyone.